There's only one Alan Ritchson character who could demolish Reacher in a fight. Alan Ritchson has built a career on portraying physically imposing, sharp-witted characters who dominate the screen with a combination of raw strength, tactical intelligence, and almost cartoonish levels of charisma. Whether he's laying waste to waves of enemies in Titans, towering over opponents in Blue Mountain State, or bringing Jack Reacher to life in Prime Video's hit Adaptation, Ritchson consistently delivers characters who are both physically intimidating and narratively compelling. Yet, despite Ritchson's towering physique and undeniable presence as Jack Reacher, there's one Ritchson character whose combination of fighting ability, ruthless efficiency, and sheer unpredictability could, in theory, demolish Reacher in a fight. And the answer is Aquaman from the Smallville era. Wait, scratch that. I mean Thad Castle from Blue Mountain State? Close, but no, actually, it's Ritchson's Hawk from Titans. Let's unpack why. The physical factor, size isn't everything, but it helps. Jack Reacher, as portrayed by Ritchson, is a mountain of a man, 6'2", ripped, trained, and lethal. In the books, Lee Child meticulously describes Reacher's ability to evaluate a threat, exploit weaknesses, and incapacitate adversaries without breaking a sweat. On screen, Ritchson embodies this perfectly: long limbs, devastating strength, and an unshakable calm in the face of chaos. Reacher is the apex predator of the everyman world. However, Hawk in Titans operates on a different level. While Reacher's physique is impressive, Hawk's build is almost cartoonishly exaggerated for maximum intimidation. He is conditioned not just for peak human strength, but for street-level combat that blends MMA, military training, and a tactical awareness that borders on superhero. In a one-on-one brawl, raw size helps, but it's the combination of reflexes, reach, and endurance that counts, and Hawk has every one of these in spades. Consider this: in Titans, Hawk is shown performing feats that are borderline superhuman in practicality. He can sprint across rooftops, punch through reinforced glass, and take hits that would floor most of Reacher's book counterparts. Reacher excels in calculated violence. He's methodical, precise, and almost surgical. Hawk, on the other hand, thrives in chaos. His unpredictability gives him a clear edge in a street fight where improvisation often decides the victor. Combat skill sets: methodical versus ferocious. Reacher's fighting style is efficient and terrifying. He studies his opponents, notices small openings, and executes with deadly precision. His skill set is rooted in real-world martial arts, judo throws, pressure point strikes, and brutal hand-to-hand techniques that exploit leverage and momentum. Watching Ritchson play Reacher is like watching a predator in a lab. Every movement calculated, every strike with purpose. Hawk's approach is fundamentally different. He fights with a primal intensity that doesn't rely on calm calculation. His MMA-inspired style is unrefined but devastating, blending power strikes, joint manipulations, and the kind of aggressive momentum that can overwhelm even a tactician like Reacher. While Reacher calculates, Hawk storms in. Where Reacher relies on foresight, Hawk relies on sheer dominance. This is key. Fights aren't always won by efficiency. They're often won by overwhelming force. Hawk's aggression, combined with Ritchson's natural physicality, creates a character who can push Reacher past his comfort zone. A Reacher who is forced into an all-out brawl against someone whose sole identity is combat intensity faces a rare challenge. Mental game: the calm versus the intimidator. Reacher is psychologically intimidating in subtle ways. He exudes quiet confidence, rarely speaks unless necessary, and studies human behavior to manipulate situations in his favor. A single raised eyebrow or carefully timed statement can unnerve seasoned criminals. Reacher's strength is as much mental as physical. He doesn't need to prove himself, which paradoxically makes him more formidable. Hawk operates on a different axis entirely. His intimidation is loud, visceral, and unapologetically physical. He thrives on being the bigger, scarier presence in any room, literally and figuratively. Where Reacher's calm is an advantage, Hawk's aura of impending violence can rattle even the most composed opponents. His mere reputation in Titans as a relentless, unflinching warrior gives him an edge in pre-fight mental dominance. Imagine the two facing off, Reacher methodical, Hawk a whirlwind of controlled rage. While Reacher would initially assess and exploit, Hawk's relentless onslaught and sheer unpredictability could force Reacher into a reactive state, something the usually invincible former MP isn't accustomed to. Experience and adaptability. It's tempting to think that Reacher's vast experience as a former military policeman gives him the ultimate edge. He's fought trained soldiers, street gangs, and criminals in every conceivable situation. His adaptability is legendary. But Hawk isn't a green rookie. He's been honed by years of street-level heroics, fights with superpowered beings, and morally ambiguous brawls that push him to extremes. Hawk has fought adversaries with enhanced strength, tactical genius, and often in situations where the rules of engagement were murky at best. This means he doesn't just react to violence, he thrives in it. Reacher may be used to being the apex human predator, but Hawk is a predator whose world involves constant escalation. In a fight without rules, without backup, Hawk's adaptability to chaos might outmatch Reacher's calculated methodology. The element of surprise. In most Ritchson characters, the element of surprise is a variable. Their abilities are somewhat predictable because they rely on grounded skills. Reacher's power is in observation, which often makes him anticipate and control the fight. Hawk, by contrast, is unpredictably aggressive. His movements are sometimes improvisational, sometimes instinctive, and always designed to shock his opponent. Against Reacher, this unpredictability is deadly. Reacher can handle trained martial artists, knife fights, and ambushes, but Hawk's style blends street fighting brutality with hyper-aggressive instinct. This makes it difficult for Reacher to find a rhythm, and rhythm is essential to his fighting efficiency. A single misstep could turn the tide decisively. Strength and durability. Ritchson's physicality makes almost every one of his characters formidable. But Hawk's strength is on another level, narratively speaking. In Titans, he absorbs damage that would incapacitate Reacher in a real-world fight and continues moving forward with terrifying momentum. His strikes are heavier, his counters faster, and his recovery almost instantaneous. Reacher's style depends on quick strikes, targeting pressure points, and leveraging an opponent's momentum. But if the opponent is not only faster and stronger, but can also take hits that would normally end a fight, Reacher's standard approach becomes less effective. The longer the fight goes, the more Hawk's durability and aggression tip the scales. Hypothetical fight scenario. Picture this, an abandoned warehouse, nightfall. Reacher enters silently, eyes scanning. Hawk emerges, confident, muscles coiled like a predator ready to spring. The first few exchanges are textbook Reacher, judo throws, targeted strikes, swift counters. But Hawk absorbs the hits and counters with a brutal combination of strikes that push Reacher off balance. Reacher tries to regain control, exploiting the environment and looking for weak points. Hawk adapts instantly, improvising with brutal efficiency. Each exchange escalates in intensity. Reacher's surgical,